Hello, I'm Jennifer from the Jennifer Maker DIY and Craft blog. Today we are going to make pretty paper tulips. It's the perfect time, spring is almost here, and I am really excited about showing you how to make these. They're made entirely out of paper, no wire or anything, and I think that they came out really cute. And I am providing the SVG files free on my website at jennifermaker.com. Now these are the materials that you're going to need to make this paper tulip. You're going to want some glue or a glue gun, your choice. You're also going to need a pair of scissors to cut out the petals or a cutting machine. I used the Cricut. And you're also going to want a quilling tool. Now this is one that I made myself out of a 3/16 inch dowel. And at the end I just used an X-Acto knife to make a slot, and this black thing is just electrical tape. It works really well and I like it because it makes the flower not quite so tightly rolled. And then we need our petals and we need our stem and leaves. So first we start with the petals. We're going to use our quilling tool before we actually start rolling, and we're going to shape the leaves. This is something that we always do before we roll up our flower. And I just roll them at the edges just like a real tulip would be. I'll speed this up a little bit so you don't have to watch the whole thing, but I use the edge of my dowel on my quilling tool that I made and just sort of wrap the edges around, give them more body and shape. And also when we go to roll this up, it's going to make it a lot easier, less likely to tear, and it's going to result in a better shaped flower. And then when we get to the end, I also like to roll down the tops of the larger petals, the ones that will show on the outside of the tulip, because new tulips have that look. So here we have our texturized flower petals, and now it's time to roll them onto our quilling tool. And we put the end of the petals, the loose end, into the slot at the tip of the quilling tool. And we start rolling it up. I like to roll towards me. I think that works best because I can keep a better eye on it. You may need to guide the petals in as you roll. Just go ahead and do it. Go slowly if you need to. All the way to the end. It's sized to wrap around so it looks good. When you get to the end, pull off the quilling tool. Make sure that you can see the bottom edges of all those petals there. And then we're going to put some glue on the little circle that we bent down. And we're going to fold it down and hold the petals and the base so that they're definitely making contact while the glue dries. It takes a few minutes before it dries. But while we're waiting, we're actually going to bend down the outer petals of the tulip, just like I'm doing here, because we want to shape these now that we rolled it all up. So we're going to use our quilling tool again, and we're going to wrap the base of the petal around the bottom of the quilling tool so that it stands out a bit from the bloom itself. That will give it the cup shape that we're looking for in our tulip. Yep, so we just do all of the ones, all the major ones that stick out. A tulip traditionally has 6 petals. I'm actually using more petals in my flower to give it a better look. I found that with the paper, we don't want to see any gaps or anything. This helps us give us a full looking flower. And so once we have all the petals shaped, we're going to put glue on them so that we can put them into position and they'll stay there, because otherwise, since we've bent them, they're going to want to flop over. That's not what a tulip looks like, except, well, I guess at the end of its life, the leaves will flop open like this, but that's not what we're looking for, a pretty new spring tulip. So I glue them, and then I put them back into position, making sure that the place where I folded it is in place. So you might have to slide it down, the petal down a little bit. You want to look at its profile to make sure that you're creating a cup shape. Once you have it in place, you just need to hold it there for a little bit while the glue sets enough so that when you set it down, it'll dry in the shape that you want. And you can see here that I am creating, there's a cup shape, right? That's what really matters here. So let's set this aside and let's work on our petal, our stem and the leaves. So this is the shape. And what we're actually going to do is fold the far left edge, just the tiniest little fold, like, you know, if you could do an 1/8 of an inch, that would be awesome. No more than 1/4 of an inch. So just fold that up. I'm using pretty heavy cardstock. It takes a little bit of an effort there. Fold that up, and then you're going to keep folding and keep folding until eventually you're rolling instead of folding. That's the idea here. Because we're making a stem out of paper. The tulip has a thicker stem than a lot of other plants do. It's very straight, sticks straight up. There's no need for wire. It doesn't bend or anything. It's a very straight stem. Nice, thick, strong stem. So I thought paper worked just great, and in fact it does. And now, once you've got it rolled up almost to the edge, you're going to put a line of glue right down the edge, just like this. And then when you roll it all the way to the edge, there's glue there. Now, it's not quite that simple. You're going to need to hold it in place as it dries. If you're using cardstock as thick as I did. I mean, it's not a particularly thick cardstock. It's just cardstock, right? And it's going to want to spring away. So I held it in my hands to make sure that the glue dried against the cardstock rather than wanting to move away. If you need to apply some more, go for it. And once the glue has dried enough, you're going to want to put some glue on the little circle on the top. This is going to be where your bloom goes later. And fold that down into place. And now it's time to continue rolling your stem so that you have leaves. The tulip tends to have 2 to 6 leaves, so I chose 3. These leaves shapes were traced from actual tulip leaves, so I think that they look pretty convincing. Now, before I rolled them, I shaped the leaves again because it helps them look more realistic and behave more like real leaves, and also it helps when you roll them up so that they're more likely to want to roll instead of tear. And now that they're ready, I put some glue along the edge here. So that it just glues up as I roll it. And then you just roll it up, and that's pretty simple actually. You don't need to use the quilling tool or anything like that. And there we go. Now we need to glue the top of our stem. Be generous with your glue here. And we put our tulip bloom right on top of our stem. And hold it in place for 30 seconds at least before you set it down or put it anywhere else so that it has a chance to actually set. I usually, once I've got it where I want it to be, I set it down and I walk away for a while so I'm not tempted to pick it up and play with it when it's really not dry yet. And there we have, there's our tulip. Isn't it cute and cheerful? I love tulips. They're one of my favorite signs of spring. Now, I'm particularly fond of purple tulips. It's what I have in my yard. So I made a couple other ones, and a little more like a lavender and a yellow, because I think yellow is very spring-like. Did you know that tulips come in every color except regular, like blue? Any blue tulips are actually a little bit purple, as it turns out. So here are the cute little tulips. I hope that you make them, and if you do, please let me know. I would love to hear about it. I love to see photos. If you have any questions, you can always come to my blog, and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Come visit me at jennifermaker.com. The full photo tutorial, as well as the free SVG cut files, are available at my website. Please also like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay up on all my latest designs and crafts. I'm always making something beautiful so I can help you handcraft your home with heart. Thank you.